Today on Omni Garage we're testing out a couple of Gtechniq products. So we're going to test out the W6, this is the iron and general fallout remover, and we've also got a ceramic coating that we've never used here before. So this is C1 by G-Techniq. This is the entry-level ceramic coating. What we'll do is we will go through a full wash and decontamination process of the brand new Holden Spark that we've got behind us here. We'll use the W6 as part of that process. We'll then use a couple of the new Rupes polishes that we've got, make sure the paint's in really good condition before we go and apply C1 to the vehicle. So stay tuned. Right, so we've washed and we've rinsed the car now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Gtechniq's W6. So this is the iron and general fallout remover. And what we're going to do with this is basically spray down the whole car. So this 250ml bottle will probably eat through a good 150 to 200 mils. We're going to let it dwell on the paint for about 3 to 5 minutes. And what we should see, if there's any contaminants on the paint, particularly iron, it will turn purple. So we'll start to spray the vehicle down with this now and let it dwell. It smells exactly the same as any of the other fallout removers, the iron removers that you'd expect. So, you know, it's got that really strong smell to it. You don't really want to inhale this too much. But what I'm finding definitely with this one is it's quite difficult to get an even spread around the car just with the spray pattern on the Gtechniq sprayer. So it's not a particularly high quality spray trigger that you've got in the Gtechniq bottle. So we found we're having to really operate in a fan-like motion in order to get this to evenly spread. But it does take a lot of work. So you are going to find that you probably will burn through quite a bit more product than you'd normally expect if you were using a really high quality chemical resistant sprayer, like on some of the other bottles that you can find. But this does smell pretty much exactly the same as any of those other iron removers or general fallout removers that you'd expect. It just takes a lot of work with the sprayer on the 250ml bottle of W6. So we're probably only about 1 or 2 minutes into the process so far, but you can already see on the roof of the vehicle we've got little bits like here. We've got some contaminants that are starting to come out of the paint. A little bit further here, and this actually, compared to some of the other removers that we've been used to, has a more gel-like feel to it. It is quite thick rather than a really fine liquid. So we're not finding an awful lot on this car, which is a good sign, because that means there's not too many contaminants. But it's a really important part in the process to remove this embedded iron from the paint before you start moving around and moving a polisher through it, because as you can see actually down the side of the car we've got quite a bit there. So you want to take that out of the paint completely, otherwise your polisher is going to pick that up and end up swirling it around, which is going to inflict more scratches into your paintwork. So that's it. We've worked around the whole vehicle with the iron fallout remover, but this is what we're trying to remove from the paint as we're doing it. You'll see that we've got the purple runoff here. These are bits of iron that have been embedded into the paint, and what the Gtechniq W6 has done is actually pulled that to the surface, and we're going to be able to rinse that iron right off. So a whole bunch here. As we work around the car, there's not a whole lot on the front doors. Little bit on the side panels up here, very minuscule. And as we work our way down to the front, this is kind of where you would probably expect to have a lot of fallout, under the headlights. So it has done a good job in pulling away all of the iron and the contaminants off the car. It was just really hard work to use the bottle. So what we'll do is we'll rinse this off, and then we can get started with the next process, which is the mechanical decontamination. So this bottle here, we've pretty much worked our way through the whole bottle. I would say there's probably 10 to 15 millilitres left in there. So if you are doing a small size vehicle like this, you're definitely not going to get much more out of the 250ml. And if you're working on a medium sized vehicle or a larger SUV, you definitely want to go for a larger litre bottle of the W6. Okay, so the vehicle is back inside now. We've dried this up. And what we're going to do is we've inspected the paint, and we've realised that we probably can get away with a one-step process on this. There are very few scratches, and those that we have found are not very deep at all. So what we'll try today is the Rupes system. So we've obviously got the two polishers, the LHR75 Mark III, which is our 5-inch polisher, and we've also got the 75, which is our 3-inch. So we'll use the Rupes fine polish, and we use that in conjunction with the fine polishing pads. So we've got a whole range of them, but we're going to try and get away, with our test spot at least, to use the fine pads in the 3-inch and the 5-inch variants. Before we do that though, we'll use some 3M tape. We'll mask off all of the trim areas of the car, all of the chrome and the headlights, to make sure those are protected. And then what we'll do is we'll get into a test spot, we'll bring you along and show you what that looks like to figure out if this is the system that we're going to be using. So what we're going to do, we're going to work on a small area here and do a test spot. Now it's really hard to see, obviously another white vehicle in the garage. If you come up close, I can see if I catch the right light, which is going to be quite tough to see on camera, but I can see if I come up, there are some very fine scratches. You can probably see in this area here if I catch that light. So we're going to work in this small area of the hood here just as a little test spot, just to make sure if the combination of the fine Rupes polish and the fine Rupes pads is going to get us the result that we're wanting from this car. We're not wanting to go to a 2-step process, and it definitely doesn't need it from the first inspection, but we'll just make sure that this is going to be aggressive enough. But as always, make sure you start with the least aggressive option before you move into any of the other more coarse polishes or polishing pads. Start from the least and work your way up. Okay, so we're going to work in this small spot here, do our test. We've got the Rupes LHR75 with the yellow pad on here, which is the fine. We have primed our pad, so we're just going to start with 2 dots on the pad. So just larger than pea-sized dots on there, and we're just going to work through this test spot and figure out, is this the combo that we want to get everything out. So speed 1 or 2 just while we spread. And then we can work it all the way up to about a 5 or a 6. Start to work it. Okay, so we spread on speed 2 and then we polish at about 5.5. And what we'll do is we'll remove that polish and we'll see how we did on the test spot, whether we need to go more aggressive or if that will be enough. That was 3 passes. So I can still see some faint scratching in there. So we probably either need to go slightly more aggressive, or yeah, that didn't quite get the result that I wanted from that area. So what we'll do, I just want to try that again with the 3-inch machine. Just see if another couple of passes would pull it out. Otherwise we might need to go with one of the slightly coarser polishes. so that was 2 more passes. I'm wondering if this is not going to be aggressive enough. So there's still a few in there. We'll grab this is Carpro razor, so it's a polish remover basically, oil and polish remover, just so we can clear it up and have a look through, see what we've got there. So probably the best way to compare this will be to remove a strip of tape. It's so difficult with a white car. Probably got to go a little bit more aggressive. So we've got a few other options here. We've got the coarse polish, which typically would be paired up with the blue pad, and we've also got the medium polish, which is the green. So we'll have a go with this one here, the medium polish. We'll continue using it with yellow pads, and we'll see if that's going to be our method to get this cleaned up. Medium polish. Yeah, night and day. I can see at the bottom here, where I haven't come too close with the pad, that it's definitely, there's one long scratch in there, which I'll be able to work on.
In here. Can't see.
Yeah, they've all been pulled out. So I think if we were to take this tape off now and have a look at the 2 sides, we should be able to see, if we catch a light. Yeah, it is very hard. I think if you come around this side and catch this light and follow that one and go all the way across, you should be able to see a bit of a difference there. So looking at that, the combination that we'll need to use on the paint will be the fine pads and the medium polish. So hard on the white car, especially on camera here, but if you follow that light, right there, micro scratching. Versus this side, where it's pretty much cleaned everything up, apart from there is a bigger scratch. You can just see it catching the light there, but we didn't spend an awful lot of time in that little area. So we can come back and capture that, but now we know the method, we'll start the process. Finding probably one of the most difficult pieces on this part of the process is to keep the pad flat, especially when you're working with contours. So in this part of the hood, you've obviously got the contour here, which comes down, and then as you work around, you've got another line that works its way up here. So that's it's been a bit of a challenge, but it does make it really handy to have the 3-inch, so the LHR75E. Because you can get nice and easy into some of these areas, versus when you're using just the Bigfoot 15, so the LHR 15 Mark III, because of the large pad size, the 5-inch versus the 3-inch, it is really tough to keep that pad flat when you're working through some of those areas. So we're making good progress on the hood here. We've got our combo, which is working nicely. Almost finished up with the hood, and then we can start working around the side of the car. Probably the easiest bit to do will be the roof, because it's the flatter surface of the whole thing. just about to start on the mirror on this side, so I thought I'd do a little bit of before. If you can catch the light there, you can see all of the swirls and the scratches through it. And we'll come back in a couple of moments once we have polished this mirror, show you the difference. And here's our after of the mirror. So it's quite tough to pick up there, but if you follow that trail of the light, there's a whole lot less scratches in there now. Managed to remove, I would say, close to 90% from that there. We're also working our way down the door panel here on the driver's side, and it's cleaning up really nicely with the combination we've got. I find that that is probably the piece that takes the longest to work out, is what pad and polish combo is going to work. And once you've managed to figure out what that system is, the process starts to unfold pretty quickly. Okay, so we've finished with the polishing process, which took us probably about 3 to 4 hours going around the whole car with both of us working on it. So the next step in the process is for us to go and take all of the tape off the car and then go around with a product. We're going to use CarPro Eraser today, and this will help us remove all of the polishing oils off the surface, which will get it ready for the coating that we're going to apply. So take the tape off, spray it down with a razor, and then onto the next stage.